I've been sitting here for like 10 minutes trying to think of an intro, but screw it. It's as bad as everyone says. It's bad. I've been trying to do this thing recently where I've just sworn off trailers. Like, I just don't watch trailers anymore. I try even to show up to the movie like 10, 15 minutes after it says it's supposed to start so that I can just skip all those trailers. Because I want to try going into movies completely fresh. I want to just try avoiding all the buzz and everything beforehand so I can just judge the movie purely for what it is. So I didn't see any of the trailers for this, but I kept hearing like little whispers of people going, oh, this looks really bad. This looks really bad. And every time that I heard that, I was like, nope, tune that out. Don't want to be influenced by anything at all. Just don't want any outside influence on this. And then that Rotten Tomatoes score popped up, and it was all anyone could talk about. Last I checked, it was like 12%, but it premiered with 9%. Oh, yeah, you better believe nobody could shut up about that. So, yeah, I went into this going, okay, well, I know people think it's pretty bad. And, oh, dear God, this is, oh. Okay, it's not the worst comic book movie that's ever been made.
No.
But I had to keep reminding myself of that all throughout this movie. Like, all throughout the movie, I was like, no. Fan Four Stick was still worse. It was... I was angrier in Suicide Squad than I am at this. I haven't seen Catwoman, but that's probably worse than this. It was so just the sound effects are pretty bad, but it's still good. It's okay. The special effects aren't all that great. It's still good. I can't make out what half the people are saying. It's still good. It's gone. Yeah, I hated this movie. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a mediocre mess.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I'm far angry
obviously,
at this
you're
thing.
far more enraged about this than I was, but I just couldn't really get into it. Like, it didn't, like, enrage me. It just kind of, like, it was just, like, very messy, and because it was so messy, I couldn't really get into it.
Well, I wouldn't even say that I'm enraged at this, because I felt nothing for this. Mm-hmm. I have never walked out of a movie in my life. But I can count on one hand how many movies made me want to walk out of it. And this one's going on that hand. Like, I really did have to fight to not leave during this. And it's not because I was mad at this. It's because I was so bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
Stop trying to eat her.
I actually did, like, start nod off in the movie.
So did I! I started nodding off.
Like, I thought it was just because I was tired or something. I was like, no, it's...
There were two people in my theater who fell asleep and were snoring loudly. Like, to the point where it was distracting and no one woke them up. Because no one cared. No one cared about this movie enough to go like, well, this is going to ruin my experience if I don't... No, like, from two different angles, I heard people... that loudly in the theater, and no one did anything.
Yeah, like, I was nodding off, and I couldn't tell if it's because I was just tired, or if the seats were super comfy, or if it's just really cold in the theater, and that which makes me just want to go into hibernation mode, like...
No, and what's shocking to me is that this movie has just big, weird monsters all over the place. It's got incredibly dumb decisions and dialogue happening all the time that just make you go, what? And it moves at lightning pace.
Yes,
it just moves. And yet, I was bored of it. I'm not saying those three other things make it good. I'm not saying if you put monsters and dumb dialogue in here and make it move fast, then I'm going to like it. I mean, the fact that I just described the dialogue as dumb implies that I'm not going to like it. But it will at least keep me interested. Mm-hmm. It will at least keep me from just zoning the flip out. And yet, this thing, oh my God, I was so done. This movie begins, and when it starts, the opening scene is so bad. It is so goddamn bad. I honestly thought to myself, oh my God, I can't wait till this comes out on, like, video, so that way I can record just, like, a scene-by-scene, like, analysis of this, because every single thing about this opening is so bad. I was like, I want to get up and leave the theater right now to go and find someone to tell them how bad this is. And then there came the moment in which he was fighting the giants. And I just was so... No, it was before that. It was when he was fighting the knights. It was when he was fighting those knights, and I just went, oh my God, I just don't care anymore. I just don't care. Like, I was going in my mind just like, this is bad because of this thing, and this, 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 and oh my goodness, there's so much to talk about here. And I was like, I don't want to talk about any of this. Like, at all. It is so just, whatever, who gives a crap throughout this. So yeah, I could not give a crap about anything happening in this. It is so bland and so boring, and yet you can't even get invested in the story. Like, the fact that it moves so quickly
Yeah, that's the
prevents
issue.
you from being able to attach yourself to anything in here. They will introduce major characters in here who are going to play a massive role in the rest of the movie, and they just introduce them like, yeah, you know who they are, right? Yeah, and here they are. Now we're on to the next thing. Now they're part of the team. Now there's this new guy that's part of the team. Here's his backstory. Now we're into this thing. Baba Yaga is here for no goddamn reason. This movie, it feels like it was made for Hellboy fans, and yet I kept looking at this going, Hellboy fans are gonna hate this shit.
Like,
Unless you're one of those fans, which I still run into a lot of comic book fans out there, who they're just happy that a character they know is on the screen. Which, guys, it's 2019. You don't have to do that anymore. You can call bad shit out. You can say, I don't like that they did this to my character. That's totally a fine reaction, man. You don't... This is no longer the 90s when comic fans have to take whatever peanuts they can get on the big screen. But that's what this movie was to me. It was just so much of just, oh, okay, we're just going to move on to this random thing at this moment. And yet they never stopped to like think about structuring that around a story or properly introducing anything.
Yeah, it's like the editing is just so messy.
Is there something in Mila Jovovich's contract that she's not allowed to be in a film with good editing in it? Dear God, the moment that she popped up in here, I just went, well, it can't be worse than that last Resident Evil movie. And then it's just cut. She plays the, like, Queen of Blood or whatever, who even cares. And this opened up with her backstory, and I could tell from the first goddamn line in this movie how bad this was going to be. The first line of this movie is, it was the Dark Ages, and for a fucking good reason. Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was Hellboy and the army of tryhards.
Yeah,
oh
they were trying so hard to get that R rating.
Dear God, man.
Take a shot every time they say the word fuck.
Oh, you probably would be just fine because you can't make out half the dialogue in here. This movie is bad on almost every level, and I couldn't help but keep stopping and saying, the sound editing is bad. How do you fuck up the sound editing so bad where half the dialogue is like Hellboy throughout half this movie keeps turning into Charlie Brown's teacher. All right, you fucking maggots, I'm going to... I was like, well, maybe it's the makeup, but then his dad sounds like he's got cotton balls in his mouth in every goddamn scene. Like...
Well, now you know where he gets it from.
Every single scene sounds like he's talking like this. Oh, my God. Oh, God, the sound editing, regular editing, everything in here is just so... I can't even look at this and just say, like, well, this is clearly a cash grab. This was a cash grab where they have, like, no money on this thing. No, there is money invested in this. People showed up to work on this movie, which is one of the only things I can give this, is that clearly people tried on this movie. I gotta give them that. But everything they tried at was done poorly. They failed at everything on this, and that's so sad. It's so sad when you see people who actually did try to make something that they could be proud of. Because so often we see movies that are enraging because no one cared. You know, we see a Slender Man or a Life of the Party, or I'm thinking of the other films that we absolutely hate, Watson and Holmes. Like all those terrible films from last year that were in our worst of the year. Because people clearly just did not give a shit. There was no script. There was no planning for any of these shots. No nothing. And yet, this film, they really did try. They really did. And it's so heartbreaking that they just screwed up every level of this thing. Okay, so this thing starts off. We haven't even talked about the plot of this thing. This thing starts off, which, in all fairness, this movie doesn't even really... This movie's plot is just whatever they thought of at any moment. And then it feels like later on down the road, they remember, oh, right, we probably need to explain this to people who don't know what the hell we're talking about. Oh, God. Yeah, because they introduce characters in here, and then they don't explain, like, anything about them.
And then, like, 20 minutes later, it's like, this is their backstory.
It's like, this is when you introduce that shit? All right. Well, okay. Listen, I'm not saying that you can't introduce a character and then put their backstory in later. That's a perfectly fine thing to do. But don't talk about them like the audience is supposed to know who they are for half a freaking hour in the film.
Yeah, and that just makes their backstories even more awkward. It's like, hi, Hellboy, you weren't here, but I was. This is how you came to be. It's just...
That is the thing that really got me, is that, yeah, they do... You have to remember, this film really feels like they were trying to make another Spider-Man film where it's like, everybody knows Spider-Man origins. Like, Hellboy isn't fucking Spider-Man.
No.
A massive... Do you know how long ago those other Hellboy films came out? It was a long fucking time ago. A lot of people watching this movie don't know who this guy is. So you just have this dude walking around talking about the BPRD and all these other things and his big, strong right hand and all these other things and shaving off his horns and his dad and the BPRD. And we don't know any of this stuff if you didn't watch those previous films or if you haven't read the comics. And I'll just go ahead and say, you guys know I'm a big comic fan. I never really got into Hellboy. Hellboy just was one of those things that just completely skipped me by. I like the Guillermo del Toro films. That's pretty much the only exposure that I have to the character. Yeah, man, this thing really believes like you know Hellboy. But then they have to stop and remember, oh, right, our audience might not know Hellboy. So let's go ahead and explain who Hellboy is. And then they'll introduce brand new characters, and it's just like, oh, hey, yeah, it's you. How are the ghosts treating you? Oh, you know, I talk to ghosts, and it's totally fine. Then we're doing this thing, we're going to this, and then going to this thing, and then going to this. And then way later on, they introduce, like, that's how you got the power to talk to ghosts, and that's why you know Hellboy, and okay, that's kind of, all right, sure, fine. That was your big secret mystery origin that we waited this long for, and that doesn't really fit anything in here. And dear God, the number of just plot points that come out of nowhere in this film. Hellboy is related to King Arthur. Just out of fucking nowhere, that plot.
I am so sick and tired of all these franchises, like, sticking their dirty fingers into King Arthur legends. You got Sonic the Hedgehog, you got Transformers, and you got Hellboy. It's like, who's next?
Sonic's kind of... I didn't even remember what the hell you were talking about there for a second, but yeah. Transformers, I'll serve you on that one, yes. But yeah, like, out of fucking nowhere, Peach is really trying to jump up here and give you a kiss. Now she wants to run away.
Yeah, she wants to play. We can't play right now. We're
mad.
We're too mad.
I can't look at cute shit while I'm mad, Peach. Oh my God. Yeah, I apologize to everybody out there who's wondering, like, why are we constantly looking down in this direction? There, now she's up here.
Squirmy baby.
Yes, yeah, just out of fucking nowhere, he's related to King Arthur, and they're introducing, like, Excalibur and all this shit, which, I mean, granted, King Arthur was at the beginning of this movie, which, by the way, you want to talk about the bad editing in here? This thing starts off with with King Arthur and Merlin and the knights, and they're going to meet the Queen of Blood, and, like, you've got all these shot, like, I was counting the seconds, and they're like, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 2 seconds, half a second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 second, 1 second, yeah, just like, again, it's not as bad as it was in Resident Evil, where it was 3 cuts every minute, but, oh, man, it's not that great. And then, like, this is how the editing is. This is exactly how the scene goes down. No weapon from man can possibly hurt me. Shing, Excalibur. Those are 4 cuts that happened that fast in this movie. That happened that goddamn fast. Oh, and that's the opening of this film. And basically the Blood Queen gets, like, her body chopped up into multiple parts and scattered across the world. But then a pig monster starts hunting her down, and again, this pig monster is like, I need revenge against Hellboy. Oh, Hellboy took everything away from me. I need revenge. When you learn the origin of the pig guy in here, it is so a who gives a crap origin. It is such a, you're the threat? You're the big bruiser that we have to, like, have the big slugfest with in this movie? No one gives a shit about you after that origin. You would have been better as a total mystery, as, like, random monster that Hellboy just fought once, and ooh, okay, I guess I can imagine some cool shit to that. Oh my God, his origin is awful. But he helps put together the Blood Queen, and then she's the queen of all monsters, and she is trying to, like, convince Hellboy that, you know, oh, well, man attacks monsters, and oh, monsters just want to live in peace, and Hellboy then is the most whiny, dickish prick in this entire film. He's totally unlikable, too. He is an absolutely unlikable character in this film.
Yeah.
Especially, again, like, I don't want to compare this to the previous material, but when you compare him to Ron Perlman's Hellboy, who, again, yeah, hard drinking, like, very, like, down-to-earth, regular Joe kind of superhero guy, that guy was so likable. And this guy is just a whiny brat. And just...
and he had the worst one-liners.
Oh, God, they were so bad. And you know what's bad is that the actor who was playing him, every now and again, he would deliver a line. It was like the half of the lines in here that I actually could understand. And I would listen to his delivery and the gruffness in his voice, and I went, he could be a good Hellboy. He could absolutely be a good Hellboy if someone directed him well and gave him good lines to say. You actually did get a good guy to play Hellboy in here. But you gave him awful makeup, awful directing, awful lines.
Awful makeup. That reminds me, like, the scene where he was like
shaving his head.
Yeah, I can actually see like the horns jiggling a little bit.
Yes.
Like, I was like, oh my god.
Yes. And it wasn't even like I caught it. Everyone caught it. And it was so bad. I looked at it as like that has to be like on purpose, that like I don't know, it's part Hellboy lore that the bones in his skull aren't fixed in there right. I guess
they're made of Jell-O.
Yes. It was so obvious I had to assume it was on purpose. Because there's no way someone would fuck up that bad on makeup. Oh my god. And he really just looks like a guy with makeup on his face. He doesn't look at all like you buy that. And the other Hellboy came out, 15 goddamn years ago at this point, and looks so much better than this? Oh my god. Okay, so she's trying to like convince Hellboy that like monsters live together, and then he brings up to his dad like, oh yeah, humans, they hunt the monsters too sometimes. And it's after this like scene that is so painful, because his dad is trying to research where the Queen of Blood could possibly be. And again, this is stuff that just moves constantly. Like, there's no explanation for why his dad is now in London, because his dad was over in Jersey, wherever that was, a moment ago, and now he's over here, and whatever. He's over there in London now, and he's going, so what do we do now? Well, now we're going to hunt down with the Queen of Blood. And this goes way faster than I can possibly say it, by the way. Mm-hmm. He goes, yeah, and then what? Well, then we kill her. And then what? Then the mission's over. Then what? Well, then we go and fight the next thing.
And then.
Oh, no.
And then.
That's an actual way that he delivers line. And I was like, shut the fuck up, you child. Oh my god. And he's trying to make this point of like, yeah, we just constantly have this war with monsters and we never try and like work with the monster or anything like that. He's trying to make this into like, why can't we all just get along? And he doesn't actually really make the point, but it's actually a good point that could be made, but the film doesn't make it well. And then they never make that point again. It never comes up. It's never like, that feels like it should be a major story arc in this whole thing. Because when you look at the BPRD in this, when you look at it in the old one, they had like all kinds of monsters working for them. When you look at it in this one, they've got Hellboy working for them, and that's really the only monster except for one guy who may or may not be a secret monster. I don't know if they're supposed to know he's a monster or not, if that's supposed to be a big surprise. But you look at this, and it's like, okay, so that could be like the arc in which you all learn to get along with monsters and now work with them, and they become like part of your team. And no, none of that ever comes up again. Ever. It's, how do you have a massive plot point that you drop like that so hard? God, it is so frustrating. Speaking of that other guy who, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it. I don't give a shit. I'm just so sorry, everyone. But it's also kind of obvious when you, like, see his backstory. There's a guy in there who's got scars on his face, and then he tells the story of, we had to go out there and hunt this monster. The monster would only come out at night, and it shows them hunting him in broad daylight. In broad-ass daylight. It's such bad everything. So they're hunting him down, and it's clear it's some kind of like a were-jaguar or something, and then he keeps injecting himself with something, and then there's a moment where he's like, no, not now. It's like, yeah, you're a were-jaguar. We all know you're a were-jaguar. At the end of this movie, there's the big slugfest that Hellboy has to get into with the pig guy, but now the pig guy is a super pig guy. He's extra big with extra tusks.
He's a big pig.
Yeah, big pig. Bebop has been taking all kinds of steroids at this point, which he really kept reminding me of Bebop from that Ninja Turtle film a couple years ago. Except he looked worse, because I could at least make out what Bebop was saying because his lips matched what he was doing. This guy, he's totally CGI, but his head moves like it's a bad puppet. Like his head comes.
Well, I thought the head was CGI, but like the body.
I think so.
The body was like a suit.
I think so.
So like basically, I think.
So how they fuck up the lip
I think
movement
they
on the
wanted
CGI?
the act. I think the actor was overacting.
Oh,
like
so maybe he had like a big fake puppet head on
he had a big
with like the dots on.
Yeah, and that's why it looked like
God,
that.
That might be why.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But they're fighting, and then there comes the moment in which again, I apologize. Normally we save this for the spoiler part, but I don't feel like this is a spoiler. I feel like literally anyone watching this saw this coming a mile away. But it's a huge problem with this film, and it's like a microcosm of a lot of the problems in this film. The Were-Jaguar guy watches him and goes, no, get back. And then he transforms into the Were-Jaguar, and then he teams up with Hellboy, because Hellboy's been getting his ass kicked by the big pig guy. And he teams up with Hellboy, and Hellboy lets out this awful one, like, let's go eat some barbecue. Wow, so that was on paper. Someone wrote that and put that on paper and gave it to another person to read. So the two of them are in there, and they go in there to fight, and the big pig guy kicks both their asses. And I looked at it and went, there was no point to the Were-Jaguar. None.
It's like
this guy was like, no, I've been fighting this thing, but now I will become the monster to save the day. Doesn't save the day. Doesn't save the day. Doesn't like go, I'll fight this guy while Hellboy, you go off and fight the other. No, both of them still get their ass kicked by the pig guy.
Like, our heroes get their asses kicked a lot.
A pretty decent amount in here. Pretty decent amount. But this is why I say it's a microcosm of the problems with this film. You can tell if someone went, oh man, Were-Jaguar? That's awesome. None of it serves no purpose in the story.
Yeah.
Have him turn into it so that he can now team up with Hellboy to stop this monster. Or have him be the one that goes up against the monster so Hellboy can go off to fight the Queen of Blood. But no, Hellboy was getting his ass kicked. What's the end result of him turning into the Were-Jaguar? Hellboy gets his ass kicked. Literally nothing was accomplished by this. Mm-hmm. That's a microcosm of this entire film. It's just, we're going to do this thing because we think it looks cool right now.
That's basically the whole premise of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do this because that looks cool. Now we're going to do this because that looks cool. It's like,
and the only reason why I can't like give this movie a worse score is because every now and again something will actually look cool. Like there was a moment at the end of this in which really big ass like nightmare creature demons are wandering around. There's some pretty good giant nightmare ass demon creatures
like,
wandering around.
I think my favorite part was like when Hellboy like grabs Excalibur and he has like that vision of him riding on the dragon.
When it just becomes the side of a van.
Honestly, it looks really awesome, but I don't really count because that's just like a dream sequence.
Although that dream sequence went on for so long, I actually started like,
did that actually happen?
Is this actually happening?
Is this actually a thing you say?
Because the editing in this film is so bad, I would not be shocked if they just went, I grabbed this sword, and now, several weeks later, the earth is consumed in flames, and I'm just riding a dragon around, and... Okay. Fine, whatever. Fine. Oh my god. What do you give this movie? We're gonna do spoiler stuff in a second, but okay, we haven't even talked about some of the other actors here. The ghost lady in here, she's terrible. I really disliked her in this movie. Like, she was there to be the Cockney girl who says a bunch of swear words, I am. We don't need that in here. The Jaguar guy, I thought he was kind of okay, but he's so just like your generic, like, I don't trust you, Hellboy. But the only reason I thought it was kind of okay is because everyone else in here is awful, so generic was better.
Generic was better than awful.
Yeah, and the dad, the guy from Deadwood, I don't even remember his name, but oh my god, like, he's supposed to be like the tough love dad. Mm-hmm. I got like none of that. I got none of that from him. As I said, Hellboy, the guy playing him, it's sad because there's moments in there where I look at him and I'm like, yeah, you actually could have been good in this. You actually could have been the perfect choice to play Hellboy. And wow, you just were given every bad card that could have been dealt on this one. Mila Jovovich is in here as Mila Jovovich. She's totally just Mila Jovovich. Yeah, man, it's... I got nothing on any of these people. I want to go into like some more details on this, so I guess we'll just save it for spoiler stuff. I'll give this a 2.5. I can't go below that because go below that, I gotta get like... I can't go down to a 2 because I give them some points because some of the monster stuff did look kind of cool every now and again when it didn't look cheap. But aside from that, it did look kind of cool. And I can't go below 2 because when you go below 2, then you get into like just didn't try, or you get into like it's damaging to the social construct of the society we live in. And this wasn't that. Certainly not. No, this is just a bad film. And the people tried, so it at least gets a 2. Yeah, I'm giving it a 2.5. What about you?
I guess maybe a 3.5. Like, I didn't hate it as much as you did, but I also did not get as invested in it. So because of that, I was really because I wasn't invested in it, I was almost like giving it a 5 because I was just like right down the middle.
There's nothing. I know that feeling.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, some of the visual effects were not very cool looking, and I almost fell asleep. So those are some points off for that.
Yeah, you gotta take a point off when the movie almost puts you to sleep. Like, I was dozing off in this thing. I was like, no, I know I got enough sleep. I'm rested. I'm well. What is happening here? And then, yeah, seriously, like just a couple minutes later, I heard from 2 different directions. And there's like giant explosions and demons and blood everywhere on the screen. And people yelling at the top of their lungs. And a soundtrack where they did not know where the volume knob was. And
No.
you talking about bad sound design in here? Goddamn, again, part of the reason why I couldn't understand everyone was just because they made some of the lines gurgled in here. But another part was just because they would have a blasting soundtrack while people are trying to have dialogue in this movie.
Just heavy metal out of nowhere.
And that's the only thing they knew how to put in here. They didn't know how to put any other music in here aside from heavy metal. At the end of this thing, after they defeat the big bad villain in here, there's a moment in which they're all standing around like making the like, yeah, that's funny moment where they all come together. It's like, and then the credits roll over them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, well this thing, oh, well, I guess this thing, oh, well, that thing. They're like just kind of joking back and forth. And the music is... You defeated the demon, they're gone now, right? This is the sun is rising up over our heroes as they're happy, like, produced by. Oh my god, and the ending stinger. By the way, did you stay after the credits?
Yes.
Okay,
so there were 2 ending credits.
I did not. As soon as those credits rolled, I got the fuck out. I could not do it anymore. Okay, spoilers. Spoilers. We'll save it for spoilers. We're now getting to the spoiler section. Everybody who has not seen this movie yet and you want to just avoid the rest of this, just tune out now. What happens in the end credits?
Well, you saw the mid credits.
I saw Abe Sapien. Is that?
Okay, that was the first one. The one after the credits.
Okay.
It's basically that witch again that you saw.
Baba Yaga?
Yeah, and she's like, I want you to, I
forgot about that. I forgot about that plot line.
Yes.
Mostly because the movie did, too.
Yeah.
Okay. They need to find out where the Blood Queen is, and Hellboy just stormed off, just mad at his dad. Oh, I'll show you, Dad. Pop. Now he is suddenly in a dark forest, and there's Baba Yaga's big chicken house. And then he's telling Baba Yaga, he's like, oh, yeah, I remember that time that I stole your eye. Yeah, you stole my eye. I'm going to take your eye. Okay, well, tell me where tell me where she is, and I'll give you my eye. But I didn't say when I'd give you my eye. And then they make out, and then... and then they have like a fight scene of her on her peg legs with swords and scythes. And then he just leaves, and... Then he just drops into like the desk where they were all like.
I actually fell asleep during the Baba Yaga part.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay.
But like I.
You put 2 and 2 together.
Yes.
But he just then falls down into the BPRD's like research room, and then he gets up and he goes, "I just met Baba Yaga. I know where she is," and that's okay.
Yeah.
No one's gonna talk about that thing that just happened. All right, fine. Okay, so Baba Yaga afterwards.
Like, basically she tells somebody off screen that she wants Hellboy's eye, but you don't see who, so I don't know which Hellboy character it might be. Do you know?
Okay, again, I don't read Hellboy, but I do have some knowledge of it, and there is they do a ton, like, if you are a character in Hellboy, you're gonna get a spin-off series, and I did read a spin-off series from last year that was really damn good, and it was like, it was some Russian word that I could never pronounce, but he was like this immortal warrior who was the slave of Baba Yaga.
Oh, yes, she says, give me Hellboy's eye and I'll give you the ability to die.
Oh, okay, oh wow, so the one Hellboy character I know is the guy that I missed out on because I was like, done out. So I actually do know who this character is, and I just left. Wow, okay.
Oops.
No, I'm okay with that. I'm willing to make that trade. Listen, I got out there, I walked around, got home a little bit quicker. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, it wasn't really worth it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I treated myself to some Chipotle afterwards, so that made up for it.
Yeah, this movie cost you money because you had to buy a meal to forget it.
Also, like, I didn't eat lunch yet, so I was kind of hungry.
Okay, so, yeah, talking about some of the other stupid stuff in here. The lady who has the power to see ghosts. There's a moment in which they are going into the woods to find Queen of Blood, and then all of a sudden she just starts punching zombies, and she can punch the ghost out zombies. And he's like, I didn't know I could do that. I was like, okay, sure. This movie has, I don't really want to call them Deus Ex Machinas, but it is it's like, damn, those suckers are close. It is that close to being a Deus Ex Machina. Where it's like, well, you set up that you have some connection to ghosts. So punching ghosts out of zombies, sure. All right. I'll take it. King Arthur's sword is introduced at the beginning of this film. Hellboy is related to King Arthur, apparently. Okay, sure. By the way, can we talk about, speaking of Hellboy, can we talk about how bad he looks as a baby in this film?
Oh my god. It was only for like, what, 2 seconds?
It's like 2 seconds, but he's got a like an adult-size head.
He's got an adult-size head on a baby body, and it just did not look right.
In the first one, he looked kind of like a monkey, which that's how he kind of looks in the comics as a baby too, so it's like, okay, that kind of fits. Here, he's got like some scrawny, like stretched out, looks like a character from an old Popeye cartoon. Yeah. With just an adult-sized head up there.
Just like Popeye's nephews. Just like...
Let's get a little hellfire. Let's get a little...
And he talks like Popeye, too, so...
Oh, my God. This is... Is there anything else in here to really... Oh, yeah, the origin story of the pig guy and of the ghost girl is that... it's revealed that Hellboy, he got called to help. Which, by the way, in this world, apparently Hellboy can just walk around wherever and no one has a problem with that shit. I mean, people look at him like, oh, damn, that's weird. But apparently just people know about Hellboy.
Well, I guess maybe they're used to vampires and shit, so they just...
But you don't know that. They never established, does this world really know about this shit? Like, is that a thing that, like, are they supposed to be hidden? Are they like, out there? Like, is it... That's never really established in this. But
like, I just assumed that they knew because they didn't seem to have a problem with
Hellboy,
gives a shit. So...
God damn. All right. So, what was I about to say?
The origins of...
Origin, yeah. All right. So he gets called in to help these people. And they're like, yeah, our baby, it just started acting differently. Like, it just doesn't feel the same. And then he's like, oh, yeah, it's a changeling. He holds up a horseshoe, and then the baby transforms into the little tiny baby version of the pig. Mm-hmm. And he's fighting off the pig baby and holding it. And then the pig baby escapes and runs up a chimney. And he's screaming out, you better bring it back! Bring that baby back! And it's one of the most embarrassing I've never felt more embarrassed for an actor in a film. I just looked at him and was like, you're in Stranger Things. And you had to put on this awful makeup to go and scream, give that baby back!
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back ribs!
I had that thought. And then they just returned the baby the next day. And that baby was the ghost girl, and she has ghost powers because the fairies did some stuff to her apparently off screen. And this pig spent the rest of its entire existence wanting revenge on Hellboy because he could have had a sweet life as a baby. Okay. That's your bit. That's why you're bringing about the end of days. That's the emotional weight that we're carrying into your big slugfest here at the end, that we have to remember you as a tiny pig in a diaper as Hellboy was trying to pull you back. That's the entire time that we have this big slugfest. Oh, I've been waiting for this day. We have the image of you just and as a tiny pig in a diaper. That's what's in our head this entire time. Oh boy. Oh my God. It's so... There was a scene in here in which he is fighting giants, and it is all one shot. It is one shot, which granted is CGI. So it's not like they actually had to really work that hard for it, but still, I have mentioned numerous times before where they use CGI to make something look like it was all one shot, that it is still aesthetically pleasing to me to have something that is just one shot. This was one of the ugliest scenes in this entire film. So I feel like that kind of sums up this film. They tried. I mean, they're going to do an entire battle sequence against 3 giants, and it's all just one shot. That sounds amazing. It looks fucking horrible in here. That's what this entire movie is. You tried, and I gotta give you that, man. Trying goes a long way in this industry.
Just the "you tried" sticker. Just slap it on Hellboy's face.
That's all I can give you on this thing. You tried, but it was in all the wrong ways. And even when you had a good idea, it was such bad execution. Yeah, man, I'm so sorry on this one. Like, I'm so sorry to the people on this film that I'm being so aggressive on this. I'm so sorry that I have to be mean on this, but I have to share how I feel about this, man. That's the entire point of reviewing stuff, is to share how you feel about it. This is how I felt about this. This thing is really bad. But I feel bad for saying that. Because you tried. So few people in this industry try. So yeah, 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Whew. So that's it. We have another review coming up tomorrow for another film that came out this week about a big red creature hunting down cryptids. It's far better than this. So come back for our review of that. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch at Professor Thorgy. Check out our new gaming channel over at Thorgy's Arcade. We're talking about video games.
Patreon.
And Patreon. I'll have links to that down below. Whew. I am spent. That was that got a lot out of me. That was boiling for 2 hours. Bye, everyone.
Bye.